Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to unboxing for Zombicide. We have some upgrade videos we're going to do. I've done this before, some different components, and we picked up some more extra stuff, so we're going to go ahead and show this off. So first we're going to go through this stuff here, which is for Zombicide Invader, which is the sci-fi, and then the second half of the video we'll go through some stuff for Zombicide, Black Plague, Green Horde, White Death, the fantasy one. So the first thing we have here, just very quickly, is we have the dice. So these were just extra things you could have picked up during the original Kickstarter. They're nothing extra special. Again, like most upgrades, they're not necessary. They're just to replace your regular six-sided dice. So we have a red pair and a blue pair. I'm gonna zoom my camera down this way so you can see what I'm looking at. So yeah, the dice that come in the game are just standard six-sided dice. These instead to be special, like kind of like techy looking pips on there. And this is the targeted side is 6, meaning like, hey, we hit accuracy, and then the side with the horde or the Xenos on the alien face is the 1, which is like a critical miss. So it's just kind of fun if you just want something a little bit neat. They look different. Again, do you need to have them? Absolutely not. It's kind of fun. You get some different colors, so like player 1 can have one, player 2 can have one. But it's just a fun little upgrade if you like your game to have a little bit more pizzazz or feel for that. Now, as we're looking at them, we're just going to look at the fantasy ones too really quickly. These are the same exact idea. I just have a set of green ones here. So they have the torch for the 6 side. Otherwise, they have little kind of like pips on there. Then they have the zombie for the 1 side. So it's kind of neat. Although having 2 different numbers on there with no indication of which is which can maybe get a little confusing for some people. If they would have just had the 6 as 1 or the 1 as 1, would have been maybe a little less confusing. But still, they're definitely cool. Just again, they're just a little bit different than your standard dice. Alright, the big thing we have for fantasy is the plastic tokens. Like everything, like all upgrades, definitely not necessary. Now this covers both base sets of Invader and as well as Dark Side. Is that the right one? What's the name of the third one? There's a third expansion, but it covers both base sets. So you're not getting a set of tokens to cover each different thing, but we have the mold tiles and we have the pit tiles, which are from the expansion / sequel set. Then we have enough doors to cover each different set, but you're not doubling up. So if you got both, you got like X number of red in one, like 8 red in one, 8 red in the other, or 12 noise tokens, 12 noise tokens. You're not getting a double set of each. Yeah, these are just kind of nice to have. If you like something a little bit more durable, they'll help last a little bit longer. But, like, you know, that's all they're going to do for you. So, first we just looked at all our different tiles here. We have our spawn tiles. We have a bunch of red. Then we get the red on the 1 side, but then we have ones for purple, pink, yellow, white, blue, and green. So I think the base set just had the 2 colors, and I think each expansion had another 2 colors. So yeah, so it's covering all 3 expansions, which is really fun. That way you get all of them. And then we have our stack of, I think there's, 10? 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 of these. And then an exit token as well. So you get those to help cover for your different spawn points. Then we have our objective tokens, and we have a bunch of red on red, and I think there was 10 of those. Maybe that's what I keep thinking 10 of. But then we're also going to get the other colored ones. So we'll have a yellow one to go with our yellow spot, blue, white, pink. So that's the 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 of those. Then the last 2 are the ones for your machines, for your turrets or your bots. And then you can kind of see the little picture sort of printed on there. Let me see if I can zoom up on that a little bit better. Yeah, so that little, like, pictures kind of showing on this might be upside down. Might not be. Not sure which direction that's supposed to be. But yeah, so this is the purple and green ones, which correspond to those 2 different colored bots per game rules. We get a camouflage token. So if anyone has camouflage, they can go ahead and use this 1 token. We have our noise tokens. There's 18 of these. We have 4 upgrades from the second game for weapon upgrades. First player token. And again, if you bought both sets, you'd end up with 2 of these and a bunch of extra of those. Same thing with these. We only have 2 of these for... I forgot what those are for off the top of my head. So that's cool. That's what they look like. But I did want, as far as like the mold stuff, we do want to kind of compare these to the cardboard ones. So like, here's our cardboard spawn points. So some people might like, and I think the same thing happened with the fantasy one, some of these. They made them a different color. So some might like these black and neon colors a little bit better. Like kind of look like scans of like on a computer versus something like these. The plain gray ones with the red. I can definitely see that. Thickness-wise, they're the same thickness. They're the same size. So you're not saving any space. But you're not taking up any more either. It's just going to help keep them from maybe getting... eventually the cardboard's going to start to wear out. The plastic shouldn't. But yeah, they don't have any other... They're obviously going to be more durable. Like, just trying to bend these. But again, I'm actually putting pressure on these. I'm actually flexing the plastic more than I am the cardboard. But yeah, they're not going to be necessarily any easier to pick up. If we look at one of the color ones, so like, there's our purple compared to our purple. I guess, personally, I do like the cardboard ones. They look a little bit neater with the black on them. But I can understand why maybe printing black plastic just wasn't viable at the time, or who knows. That's the same thing. We got our noise tokens. So kind of got like the neon with like little patterns on there. Do look a little bit cooler. Just comparing each set of tokens here. But there's nothing that's going to keep them from not being viable tokens. They definitely are going to work if you like to just switch over to plastic. Our first player tokens. Our camouflage. I do like how they kept them the same shapes and everything too. Definitely works. Our targeting tokens. So like we do have our 2 images. So there you can definitely see the picture on there a little bit better versus it just being a purple. Then if we compare like the yellow one versus the red side. Alright, so those are those tokens. Then the other ones we want to look at are our mold and this. Now we do actually get 20 mold, so we get enough that covers ones from each game. I think each game might have had 8 or 10. And they just did that because you might end up needing enough between the 2 games. Now these are a little bit embossed in there, which is kind of cool. So this is one of the mold tokens, and then this is the other side of it. So if we kind of compare those. So now these, I definitely think are almost more worthy, because this is a lot thinner cardboard than the regular tokens. So like a regular token versus the mold tokens. So these are actually nice, because these are actually quite a bit thicker. So they're going to be easier to pick up off the board versus just a piece of paper, essentially. Plus, every time you pick that up, you're not going to cram your finger under it. They're physically the same size otherwise. So you're not taking up any more wood. Plus, the little texture's kind of neat. Yeah, so it's definitely cool with those. And you got the same thing with the pit tokens. Like how it looks like they'll crackly rock. So it might even be worth picking these up if you can find them at a decent price just for these tokens, if you don't want to use all the rest of them. Or you can mix and match what you would like to use. Now, I do want to look at one other thing before I put these away. I want to look at what they look like on the board. So, one sec. Alright, so I did want to show off this, just kind of showing the difference between the tokens on the boards, just because this might help some people make up their mind on whether they want to get these or not. Because, like, again, like, aesthetically, like, the picture-wise, I think the cardboard ones will look a little bit cooler, because they have kind of like that screen print on them, and the black and the neon stand out a little bit better than the gray. But I like plastic tokens, are really nice to have too. But here we can see if they're on the gray, how well they stand out. And if you look up here, sometimes when there's other stuff cluttered in the way, granted, you can see red pretty well over gray. You can still see it, but definitely this pops a little bit more. If it's in something like a hallway, again, it's still going to pop a little bit more, but it's still very noticeable. You get down to some of this area, again, where there's other comparison of other things around in the area. But now if we kind of, like, move some of this just up in, like, this red area, again, the black is just going to stand out more on the silver or gray picture on the map or the board, but it's still not going to be that big of a deal or big of a difference. I think where it's going to be, you know, again, it might just be up. You can still see the colors are popping on there. And I don't think sometimes you're really terribly looking at the images on it. Again, they look kind of neat, but when you're playing, you're just looking for the purple or the red. You're probably not really too terribly looking at the picture that closely. So again, having that neat picture is cool, but it's not necessary. So I did want to, though, compare it to, if we look at, I'm going to slide all these off. If we look at it, if we had, I don't think you're going to generally have anything out in the wasteland area, but it's, again, just a neat way to just kind of compare some of that. You can kind of see the differences they are if they're out in the outer area. Usually that's just going from here to there, but you could play a custom game where you put something out in the wastelandy area or the outside environment. So that's an option there. If you got dark side, we have dark rooms. So let's take a look at what these tokens look like at dark. So we've seen how they look like on red, the reddish brown. We've seen how they look like on the gray silver, but what do they look like if they're in the black? And again, that's kind of just to a thing of where now the brighter colors on the cardboard tiles do still stand out very well, but the black part's sort of blending in, not like completely, because it's not a complete black, it's like a bluish black, but you can definitely see some differences there. The gray tokens are now going to stand out more in the black areas versus they did in the other one. So that's just like one thing we did want to show off. As long as we're looking at that, let's also take a look at the mold tiles. Now again, these aren't going to look any different when they're on the board. Very much. Again, maybe a little bit brighter color. Just slide this off. Or if we have a hole on there. Let me zoom this out. Yeah, so it's like, this is a little bit brighter-ish color, but, I feel like, are they going to be any different? Are they a big deal? But again, if I need to move these around, like just sliding them, they're fine. But if you need to pick this up, I can pick this up a little bit easier. If I have to even grip it, it's not that big of a deal. It's all plastic. Where this, you have to maybe feel like you might bend it or wreck it. Because you do have to flip these over. So that's something that you might look at. I have to put my fingernail in there to pick that up. Do the same thing there, but I'm not worried about wrecking my tile ever. Although it's like, even if you get a little indent on these, it's not going to hurt them because it's not like you randomly sort them. So the last thing I did want to just point out with this is just as long as we have all this stuff out and we're doing comparisons, is if we put some of the miniatures on the board. Just to see what they look like in comparison to some of the miniatures. And as long as we're doing that, I wanted to just see what some of them look like with door tiles on there. So you could definitely upgrade to get the extra doors, which are really cool, and then they fold down with these. So you know where the doors are at, and you can see how the characters kind of matching to the tiles a little bit. But again, just extra stuff you can get. Alright, so that's what we have for Invader. I'll clean this up quick, and then we'll take a look at the fantasy stuff. Alright, so up next for our fantasy Black Plague, Green Horde, and eventually White Death. Although this was, I don't know if this was in, any of these will be used in White Death. We have some 3D tokens for bushes and for spikes. So normally in the game, you already have bushes, or hedges, I guess they'd be called, that signify areas that your characters can and can't see through. So if we have couple of our miniatures out here, and we have, let's grab an abomination. I don't have an abomination. I have some necromancers. We have this abomination here. The abomination can't see through the hedges. Now they did give us 6 extra hedges on here, but they also double as your spikes. So you can go ahead and you can customize your stuff a little bit more if you would like. So it's kind of cool. But what we got here is something really fun. So if we open up our box, we got a set of 6 hedges and 6 spikes. So it's really fun here is because, now the idea is supposed to be is you can put these wherever, but you can put these on the board to cover up your zones. And now, with only 6 of them, you're not going to have enough to cover every single space on the board. But you could use it for relative areas you're going to, or again, use them for the new areas you place them in. And then the same idea would be like the spikes. We'll look at those in just a sec, though. But definitely I like the idea of these because having something 3D, and these are actually pretty big, hefty plastic hedges. They look pretty cool. But even putting them on the board now you can actually, you're looking at the game, and you can be like, oh, yeah, I can see why they can't see each other, instead of having to try and remember the little green spots on the board. So that's definitely a cool idea there. And then what you can also do is if you have, like, a city spot, and instead of being like, oh, well, for whatever weird reason, this spot had some hedges built in around these walls. Are all hedges, right? You could be like, instead of being walls for this area in this town, they're all hedges for some reason. Now you could take your 3D ones and drop them on there instead. So if we did that, then it makes an interesting little, like, shrubbery garden around this pathway. Although I guess technically it'd be like that one. Yeah, so it's also kind of a neat idea. But again, it's probably enough for, again, to replace the 6 tiles in there. But it's not enough to do your entire board. But yeah, it could definitely be very helpful. Or if you're, again, like, your guys are all congregated in this area, you could be like, okay, while they're here, like, I'm going to put these up just in these spots, just as a quick reminder even. And then, like, oh, okay, these guys, like, he runs through here, and these guys run over here. Eventually, this guy comes back through, and he gets over here, and then it's like, oh, no, we're going to start going down. You just move these couple over, right? Okay, now we know that those are there blocking. And a little bit of manipulation, having to keep moving stuff around, but you can kind of put it to where it helps. Oh, these guys jumped on this side of the bushes. Now we know they're out of the way. That's definitely a fun thing you can do there. Then very much in the same sense as we had spikes you could place in here. So let's look at the town map. Do I have a better town map? A lot of waterways on the maps I grabbed. Let me check the other side of this one. I just grabbed a couple of random tiles. Alright, that'll be good enough. But yeah, so if we have our guys, and they drop some spikes down in the way, maybe there's one there, Again, you can see they're on the board, but they do kind of blend in, at least. I mean, like, obviously the bushes won't as much. Wherever you put them, they'll kind of stand out, but the spikes sort of blend in a bit. So that's what's really fun, is then you can take these new ones we got, and you can put these big 3D ones in there. If you can figure out, but be careful though, these are sharp. So if you do pull these out, these are a little prickly. But yeah, definitely, now that definitely you can see, hey, there are barriers on the board of where we can and can't go through, and guys can't just walk through those all willy-nilly, or zombies are going to get hurt, or people get hurt if they try and cross into them. So that's definitely a cool upgrade. Now, the bushes, on one hand, I don't feel probably need too much painting unless you want to, like, add, like, flowers or something weird in there. Or, I guess you could do that. Or if you wanted to paint, like, some, like, fall colors or something different. Well, that's just shrubs. These guys I could definitely see if someone wanted to repaint, because you could paint the rope a different color. Maybe put some blood on the spikes if you like. Paint them a darker brown. Like, maybe, like, a dark brown, maybe like a blackish brown if you want a different type dark wood. Maybe white if you want like a birch if they grab them. You could paint some different ones if you wanted to do some different things there. So that could be kind of interesting there. So that's what we have for those. Nothing super, definitely cool. I really like them. The other one we have that you could opt to pick up as well is just the 3D plastic hedges. So what this is just a box of hedges instead of having spikes. So what's cool about, now you could pick up double ones of the other ones and have extra spikes, although the game only has the spot for 6 spikes. But again, if you want your own custom game, you guys pick up a second one and then end up being able to have 12 spikes out if you like, if you want to play some bigger maps or however you like to do it. But yeah, this is kind of neat. So you can set this up so you can actually then cover a lot more of these areas. So I'm going to set this up quick and we'll come right back. Alright, so here's maybe a little bit more extreme example of this. So we do have these 2 tiles here, which we just had. So I put them all. Now you're going to notice I have none over here and here on this side, because I don't have enough, because the tile I put down over here was probably one of the biggest ones that had the hedges. Let me scooch this like this. So this had probably the most hedges on there. But what I do is I want to cover up all of them. So if you're playing like this, you can definitely see like, oh, okay, here's all these. But again, this is 3 tiles, and I couldn't even fit them on every single one. So if you're playing a hedge extensive map with 9 tiles, there's no way you're going to do it. Even if you're using a 4-map one, if I had one more tile that had a bunch of hedges on it, or actually any hedges, I wouldn't be able to have them all covered with the 2 boxes I have. Now, if I purchased another box with the spikes in that, I would have another 6, but I only have 2 more up there. I only have 4 more to go. So, again, depending on which tile it is, I may or may not have enough, because this one has, 5? That one has 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, you can definitely see even having another box, you might have almost had to purchase another full just hedge one if you want to have nothing but hedges on all of them. And that doesn't even count if the scenario asks you to place more hedges like we placed our spikes down. But yeah, so definitely cool. It's a neat upgrade. Again, it's one of those things with any upgrade. Is it required to play? No. Is it going to make the game more interesting? Definitely. I am hoping in the future to also pick up some walls for the game. To go around buildings and stuff. I'm just looking to see what I can, looking for some good options and get some. When I do that, I'll definitely come back and revisit so you can see what the game looks like with bushes and walls. Yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. I think these upgrades like this definitely make the game feel more thematic. Like, these guys feel trapped inside here, because these are what walls are going to look like. But yeah, if I put some of my heroes over here, the survivors, I call them heroes, put my survivor heroes over here in the hedge maze, it feels like they're trapped in there. I wish I had, like, a pile of zombies, but, like, right, I'm going to grab some, just some other characters. I have some different characters from Invader sitting here from the other video. They're a different color, so if we just pretended these were zombies, right? And we had a massive, like, 4 walkers coming at you. Now, it definitely feels like a lot more, oh no, like, I feel like they're trapped in here. Like, yes, I know you can walk through the bushes, but you don't know what's on the other side. It's like, what if this was our scenario? And our guys had to run. Do they run this way? Do they run? They don't. Like, obviously, you can see as a player where the stuff is, but you're going to run into that thing of, like, the zombies are coming this way. There's only so much you can do, and this guy might sneak through them bushes, But yeah, it definitely makes the game more intense. Now, just as a comparison, so if I took all of these bushes off, that's what the game looks like now. Oh yeah, I still feel like I got a horde of zombies coming after me, but I don't feel nearly as entrapped. And if we just add, even if you add the bush tokens in there, and again, we only have 6 of those, so you're going to have even less. Oh, okay, I can tell there's something there, but yeah, it doesn't feel as intimidating as, as that does. That definitely feels a lot more intimidating and closed in, like you have less room to escape. Alright, that's what we have for Zombicide, and of course then we have showed off our dice earlier. Hope you guys enjoyed these upgrade videos. If there's anything else you'd like to see me do, or like review, or go back over, compare stuff from other sets, hit me up in the comments. Love to hear from you. See you guys later. Bye.